I had to. I had to double dip. This is 2-a-days. You know, I like to come on in the evening times. I'm not gonna lie. The nightcaps are tight. There's news to talk about. We were eating dinner tonight, and Caden was like, "Yo, you going live?" People starting to feel the 8 p.m. shows. So I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? There's a lot to talk about. Let's roll. Let's roll. All right. So what's up, fam? I'm back. 8 p.m. This was the graphic. I'm glad we have a screenshot of this. And I'm glad I actually went to lunch today because there was no commitments. But don't let that make you mad. Money McGee, what's up, bro? I'll do some shout outs in just a minute. Don't let the commitment that there wasn't commitments, don't let that like upset you. The fact that this graphic right here, like this tweet, went hard. Because we've been waiting for this levy to drop, right? We've been waiting for the recruits to come. They're coming. And it's it's going to be a wave like I think people haven't seen before, right? There was the cold summer last year. This time is the summer rain. Do you guys have any idea who the 3 commits will be? I mean, I think, you know, you could put things together. I don't make predictions or anything like that. And I know different guys have different commitment timelines. I kind of feel like I have maybe 2 out of 3. I don't know. It's going to be exciting. I would stay tuned to all of your recruiting reporters. There's no timeline on any of this, but I mean, if you're smart, you can kind of put things together. Guys have been shutting down other trips. Guys have been loving coming to Tuscaloosa. In fact, they got a gigantic recruiting weekend this weekend. We'll talk about that tomorrow on tomorrow's show. But first, before we talk recruiting, let's talk about, let's do a nightcap roll call real quick. And then we'll talk about Ryan Grubb because he gave a great interview today to Ryan Fowler. One of the best in the business, clearly, right? He's done an amazing job, built himself up. He gets the interviews, he gets scoop. Best friends with Coach Keelon DeBoer. You know, he's going to get those interviews, rightfully so. And he had some great things to say. Ryan Grubb is such a great interview because he tells you what it is. I think sometimes people get caught in like word salad, right? Like we'd like to say. Ryan Grubb will just straight up tell you, this is how it is. This is how it is. And that's it. And we like that. We like straight shooters, right? Just tell us. We can take it. We're grown. All right, let's see who's up in the house tonight. All right, we got Dan Caraway. Dan Caraway, what's up, bro? Robert Lofton, what's up? Herman, I see you. Jarvis, let's go. Good to see you, man. Hey, Barry, what's up, man? Nicole, Herman, of course. Money McGee. It's been a minute, man. Glad you're here. And that's the thing. Like, you don't know when people are on because I got my morning crew. I got my night crew. What's up, 205? I appreciate it, man. 205's locking on. Yeah, I like the night shows. Austin Cortez coming to us from Cypress, Texas. There's some hella good high school football out there, right? Dre Lively, what's up, bro? I know, me too. And the thing is, okay, you guys have to give me some grace because I go to bed so early for those workouts in the morning. So if something happens like at 10 p.m. or something like that, I'm not touching it. I'm sleeping. That's just, you know what? As you get older, you start to realize that sleep is like, you know, currency. All right, Byron, what's up, man? Big Country Tide, what's up? Kaylin Childress, Stephen Burton, what's up, man? The artist formerly known as Sean. That's what's up. Kimberly Harmon, what's up, Tay? Good to see you. Steven CLPN coming to us from Anniston. I love me some Anniston. It's so beautiful over there. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. The goal tonight for our short show tonight. Let's see if we can hit 5 super chats. 5 super chats. All right. Who wants to crack it open first? Who wants to be the leadoff? 5 super chats. Ryan Grubb did an amazing interview today. As I said, he's a straight shooter. Here's a couple of things that he hit on when he's talking about, you know, the quarterbacks. And we got Ernest coming to us from Paris. That's what's up. We got Robert coming to us from Ohio. So Ryan Grubb, you know, it's been tiring to hear, you know, kind of the quarterback talk. And I think Alabama fans have come to accept the fact that it's going to be Ty Simpson's job to start the season, and rightfully so. We've learned to love Ty. We appreciate who he is, how he's waited his turn, how he's matured as a quarterback. But the best thing was on the quote today, and I don't know if you heard the interview, you can go back and listen to Ryan Fowler's interview, Tide 100.9. But he says Ty Simpson operated at the highest level. That is exactly what we want to hear. We don't want, well, you know, he's the highest paid guy in the room. No. Like, who's the best guy, period. Jake Blue's in with the first super chat. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. We don't want the guy who's the highest paid. We don't want the guy who's the highest rated. We don't want the guy who has the most hype. We want the best quarterback for the job, period, to run the offense under Ryan Grubb. So Ty Simpson clearly operated at the highest level. He took care of the football in spring football, and we want that to translate into a successful season. And I want to be real clear. When you're out there as an Alabama football fan, don't get caught up in like picking sides between the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks, from what I told, a source told me this, who talks to the quarterbacks, said that these quarterbacks are wicked close, like best of friends, all right? So don't be like, oh man, I'm against Ty and I'm pulling for Keelon. No. You're for the best quarterback to run the offense, period. And you're for the best quarterback to win games. And the first game is the only game that matters. We can sit here and talk about the schedule and the Georgia game at night. That doesn't matter. That's all rat poison, right? If you really want to talk about it, it's all rat poison. The only thing that matters is the first game against Florida State. And you know what? If you overlook that game, you will get punched in the mouth and your season goes off the rails. That's why it's so important that you have the right physical and psychological disposition that you can lock in and stay loaded to game number one. And we want to fully be behind Ty Simpson so he can run this offense and do his thing. Because, look, you know, the quarterback position and the quarterback development hasn't been there over the last couple years. So we need to get it right. We need to get behind Ty, and we need to let him operate at the highest level because we all know that he has some absolutely dangerous weapons, probably the most dangerous weapons in all of college football. So let's sit back, support him, and get behind Ty Simpson as well as the other quarterbacks as they continue to mature. Steven, what's up, man, with the big super, bro? I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We got 2 out of 5. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Always here, man. You're always supporting the product. Thank you so much for rocking with us right here on Bama Football on YouTube. In fact, they'll get you a double dip into the hoodie competition, man. So I'll show up what we're raffling in just a second. Hopefully we can spin the pinwheel tomorrow, man. But Steven, I got you locked in, bro. He said this about Austin Mack, which I thought was interesting. You know, sometimes I think we forget about Austin Mack, and he might be, and I understand why, because Austin Mack is right in between Ty Simpson, right, who's waited his turn, who's worked to earn this particular spot as Alabama's quarterback, right, and he's sandwiched in between a 5-star who is like, who we hope is like a generational talent. And from those that saw Keelon Russell during spring football, that's where they're seeing the trajectory of him. So Austin Mack is right in the middle. But let's not get it twisted. Like, he has the size, right? He has the arm. And according to Ryan Grubb, he said he's the best pure passer. Isn't that what we want? Like, if he can develop to maybe be the dark horse in this race, maybe he's not a dark horse at all. 6'6", 230 pounds? Yes, please. Right? Those are the type of guys that you have like on NCAA football when you play the video game, which, by the way, comes out. Are we a month away from the game dropping? Man, I'm going to stream the game. I'm going to put in a different quarterback, though. Just kidding. Can you imagine? No, I'm going to roll with Ty, of course. And I'm gunning for the Natty this year. Last year, I lost in the national championship game to Oregon. So this year, I'm coming back. David Orr with the $2 super, man. That's what's up. Good to see you, brother. And then, you know, I thought, look, Ryan Grubb said this about Keelon Russell. This is huge. And you can read this article on AL.com by Nick Kelly, who does an amazing job, right? So Ryan Grubb told Ryan Fowler today when asked about Keelon Russell, and obviously, you know, his sister passed away. What has it been, a week? Still, like, absolutely devastating. By the way, her services will be this Saturday at Duncanville High School at the football stadium. But he said this about Keelon Russell. He says, you can't give him enough support, and kind of talk about the situation where Keelon came back to practice, right? He said this to 100.9 Ryan Fowler, and he said Keelon is a very, very strong young man. His ability to handle this has been humbling to see, honestly. The guys have been there at every turn for him. Like, bless that young man and bless his family. I can't even imagine. And my heart still hurts, and it's going to hurt, you know, as we continue to go along. This is going to be part of his story, right? I mean, his twin sister, right? A beautiful soul had just started their life. So to be able to still be out there with the guys says a lot about the maturation process of where he's at. And Coach Saban always said, guys who can get on the field early and handle a lot are mature. It says a lot about him and his parents, and my heart continues to go out to the Russell family as they navigate through this. I mean, they need all the prayers and the positive thoughts. So again, Kirsten's services will be this Saturday, and Alabama football has, of course, been there 1,000,000% of the way for the family. This was a great part as well. A hell of a quote, right? How many super chats do we have? We got 3 super chats out of 5. We got 2 more. Come on, fam. He said this, by the way, David Orr, thanks, dude. I love your avatar, by the way, that flash, that's tight, right? He said this when talking about the offense as a whole, and I love this, man, because, and I believe this. I don't think this is like a gas up. I don't think that Ryan Grubb is hype. I think, honestly, he's coming in, and he's going to be ultra aggressive with the weapons that he has, right? So Grubb said this today. He said, we want people to pop on the film each week and know that they're going to have to defend every single inch of the field. That's what's up, right? Like, we want Alabama's offense to be problematic no matter who's in. No matter if you're running the ball, no matter if you're in the red zone, no matter if it's 3rd and short, no matter if it's 1st and 10 from the 20 as the game's just started. We want Alabama's offense to be an absolute problem, and I really think it is. I mean, look, here's an illustration. I've cooked up these. I love doing these, by the way. Just think about the possibilities. I just put out some names here just to, kind of mess around with the ink a little bit. Could you imagine? I have no idea if it'll look like this at all. I would imagine that Ryan Williams sees some time in the slot. But these are just the wide receivers that I threw out there. Of course, you have Rico Scott, who I think will be out there. You have Jalen Hell, who I think will be out there. Cole Adams. I mean, Jalen Mbakwe, don't forget about him. Bubba Hampton, Derek Meadows. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot. Somebody just asked for the hat. I got this hat at the soup store here in Tuscaloosa, like the student store. So it's tight. It fits really well, too. All right, so look, it's going to be dangerous. I mean, can you imagine Isaiah Horton up top? Can you imagine right next to him with Ryan Williams? And that's where I want Ryan Williams to not necessarily live in the middle of the field and get, blown up, but I want him to have kind of underneath the 20-yard window. And I think the more that we get Ryan Williams touches, right, the more effective he'll be. So whether that's slants, whether that's outs, whether that's ups, like whatever you're going to do, takeoff routes on the outside with Isaiah Horton coming across, like be creative with Ryan Williams. You don't have to just throw it all the way down the field to connect with him on these home runs. Like, get him the ball in short space and let him do the work. Same thing with Lazier Brooks. This would be a hell of a dangerous combination right here to have to deal with. All right, Jarvis is saying that he got his hat today. Yeah, from one of the raffles. Was that a free raffle I think you won? And then I know Dan Caraway got his hat today as well. So the gear goes out. The only problem that I've seen is the gear that we have from Athlete's Thread, when we order it, just takes a little bit of time. They must like hand stitch these hoodies and stuff. So just be a little bit patient. But there's nothing like waiting for something and coming in like the mail. All right. So this was Coach Grubb talking about Kirsten and Keelon Russell. All right. Earlier today, if you caught my show, we talked about kind of the dream class, right? And I'll run through the offense a little bit more, and then tomorrow we'll do the dream class on defense. So maybe there was some of you that missed it, didn't get an opportunity to see the rewatch. So, and we talked about Alabama's football schedule. Clearly, you know the times and dates. You've probably seen them before. And if you're looking at this and you want to screenshot this, I'll go full screen just so you can see it before we talk about the Dream Class. These games right here, the 2:30 and the 7, those are called flex games. That's up to ESPN, ABC, where they want to put that game, and they'll determine that a week out. So those are the possibilities that the game could be at, right? But like Florida State, set in stone. Louisiana Monroe, set in stone. Wisconsin, Georgia, set in stone. Missouri, set in stone. I don't like this one. 11 a.m. on the road. I don't like that game. LSU set, 5 or 7. That'll be a evening game. And then 1 p.m. against Eastern Illinois. See what I'm saying? So if you want to screenshot that, I'm sure you could just go to Alabama's official to get the schedule. This is the raffle that we're doing. So the raffle is still open. So if you do a super chat over $10, that'll also get you in the raffle. Up to 3 opportunities for the raffle, or you can send it to Bama YouTube _YouTube on Venmo, or Cash at Bama YouTube. This is a jacket. It's got the old Alabama logo. I think this is absolutely fire. And the only gear that I have on the raffles is the only gear that I'd wear. All right. I'm not going to lie. I like the drip. This is tight. Okay, so if you want to get in, there's plenty of room to still jump in the raffle, and we'll spin the pinwheel with the music on Friday. All right. Before we get to the Dream Class, I don't know if you guys missed this, but it's on Alabama's official social media account. And they're doing like a segment with each of the positions. Just type in wherever you get your Alabama football, like official social media. They did it on the defensive line. And this was tight because they started out with Tim Keelon, and Tim Keelon in the beginning of the video is like, we need to bring the pain. He's kind of talking about the mindset of the defense. Hey, Fred with the super, man. Thanks. That's what's up, bro. Thanks for the support, bro. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And then they went on to highlight one of our favorites in Freddie Roach. And they talked about the type of coach that he is. And I said earlier today, you have to recognize he's from here, from Alabama, played at Alabama, coached under Coach Saban, still has kind of that mentality from Saban. Like, he'll get after you, you know what, but he'll love you up too. He's a hell of a coach. And that's why I think like Kamarion Johnson shutting things down, this guy had a big role in that. So it talks about him. And then finally, in that video, it also gives some love to kind of some up-and-coming players. And one of them was Edric Hill. So, you know, you had Jeremiah Beeman, who I think did a really good job this year in terms of a breakthrough this spring. Tim Keelon will be a vet. James Smith, I guess. You'll know more about James Smith, I promise you. But it's good to hear Edric Hill, his name mentioned. Here's some commitment timelines. Now, things could change, of course. And we're watching a couple guys. And as you know, Hayes tweeted out that there will be 3 commitments at some point in time for Alabama. Dan saying that I could say ass on the Late Show. Okay, cool. That's what's up. Yeah. This is the nightcap. I need to have like a viewer discretion advised so I can just kind of be myself. But these are timelines. Is there anybody else that I need to update or that I need to add to this list? I'm down to add more names. So I got Sincere Johnson, commitment date, June 19th, Xavier Crowell, June 26th, Xavier Griffin, June 29th, Brian Williams, late June, July, Sedarian Morgan, Booby Feaster. You could see it. You could read it. But this looks good to me. And, of course, that graphic is by Hayes Fawcett. That graphic's tight. Okay, so we were building out our dream class on offense, okay? So this next segment is powered by Sonic, our friends in West Memphis, Arkansas, Marion, Arkansas. Next time you cruise through for a cherry limeade. Who's had a cherry limeade? When's the last time you had a limeade? Where I-55 and I-40 meet, tell them Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube sent you, all right? So the dream class, and this is just offense, okay? Here's the names that we're looking at in terms of the quarterback position. So jet them all in. I'll run through these one by one. Jethamala committed to Iowa State, 6'5" quarterback. He just took his official to Iowa State, but I still kind of feel that he's vibing with Alabama. He was here recently on an unofficial. You got Matt Ponitowski, right? Hell of an athlete. I think if he decided to come here, he wants to play baseball and football. And then a new name to the list is Taden Kawa. He's from Hawaii, but he plays his high school football in Utah. I still need to kind of do some digging into that. I asked the fam today, the undefeated, and everybody wants this young man, Taden Kawa. And I think I kind of do too. Look, any of these guys I think would be solid. But I think we love Hawaiian quarterbacks here, okay? Like, hey, he's 6'4", 225 pounds. If he was lefty, oh, my God, we'd be sold. Man, we were smitten on Tua. We love Tua. But any of these guys, these are the guys in play. I think either way it works out. You know, maybe one of these is your quarterback. Maybe some other guy jumps up. I don't know. Here we're looking at the running back position right now, and I'll go full screen on this. Look, everybody wants the big dog right here. Okay, home state guy, reclassified. He is an absolute monster. Xavier Crowell is him. Okay, Derek Cooper is also a monster. Out of Florida. And I had to give, look, I've lived in Las Cruces and I've been in El Paso many times, okay? I used to go, look, truth be told, because I went to New Mexico State, right, for a period of time. So we would go to El Paso, and at this point in time, you could just walk across to Juarez. I'm telling you. And look, we're college kids. We did what college kids do. And now you can't do that anymore. But there was a time where you could literally just cross the bridge and go into Juarez, and like all of the bars and stuff like that were right there. But El Paso has some good football. Ryan Estrada will be here on an official visit next weekend. 5'11", 185 pounds out of El Dorado High School. Really good football, right? You got Montwood, you got El Dorado, Canutillo. There's probably a couple other new ones that I have that I'm not even sure about, but if you've been out to El Paso, maybe you've been out to Fort Bliss, right? When you cross Trans Mountain. Oscar in with the super. That's what's up, man. Oscar says 79 days until Alabama kicks off. I'm just ready for the Tide to handle business. 100%, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I think right here with the running backs, everybody wants Xavier Crowell to be that guy. And this would be a hell of a pickup because he's an in-state guy. And I've said this before, watching his highlights, it reminds me of Jan Miller and A.K. Deere, kind of like a blend of both, power, speed, that type of guy. For the wide receivers, look, I could probably, tomorrow, I'll probably put Tristan Keys on here as well because I know a lot of people want Tristan Keys still, who's committed elsewhere. But, I mean, can you imagine if Alabama rolled out with these wide receivers, Sedarian Morgan, Boobie Feaster, Brian Williams, and that was the recruiting class? That would be crazy. Now, I think, the people's choice, they want Sedarian Morgan. 6'4", 220 pounds, right? Boobie Feaster, monster, and then Brian Williams. It seems like Brian Williams is close to committing. He's 6'4", 185 pounds. He's a top 100 player from the state of Florida. Patriot Life in with the super. What's up, Patriot Life? Good to see you, brother. I love that white hat, man. That looks good on you, bro. That's good. All right. So these are the wide receivers. And thank you, Patriot Life, and thank you, Oscar. And then here are the tight ends, all right? So the tight end position, look, any of these guys, I like these three, okay? So you got Caden Prothro, right, out of Georgia. You got Xavier Tiller, right, out of Georgia as well. And then you got Max Sutter, right? I think Sutter's the #1 player in the state of Illinois. I don't know, which one of these guys, maybe there's somebody else in terms of a tight end, but I think these three, you can't go wrong, right? I mean, you look at the industry rankings on the bottom. I mean, Prothro's a 5-star, and it looks like Sutter is close to being a 5-star as well. So those are your tight ends that, you probably wind up with one of those. Of course, they're not going to take two. It seems like all they've been taking recently is tight ends, right? All right. J Music is saying, who from the list of prospects shown do you think will commit to us? Well, it seems to me like the tea leaves are really pointing to Brian Williams at this point in time. And it kind of seems like Jariah Edwards on the defensive side. But the number 3 guy, I don't really know. And I don't know if it's going to be those guys for sure. But I'm going off that because those guys have been predicted to commit to Alabama. So in terms of that third guy, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, you know. And if I was to find out, I wouldn't want to like spoil the dude's moment. That's why I was like the predictions are cool like that, but it's kind of like a low key way of like stealing the kids' thunder, in my opinion. But that's the world we live in, right? Here you go from the offensive line perspective. Chris Booker, who's committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Sam Utu, who's committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. 6'5", 330 pounds, who recently committed out to California. This would be just a hell of an offensive line right here, right? You put Malachi on one side and you put Bryson on the other as your tackles. I don't know. Does Alabama get Malachi Lee? Man, I said this. I've been saying this. I want them to get Taden Kawa, the Hawaiian quarterback, and I want another Hawaiian right tackle, and Malachi Lee. Bring on all the Hawaiians. I'm telling you, when the Hawaiians look, when Tua was the quarterback, I had it made in the shade. They watched all my shows. I got coffee. I got all sorts of stuff. They gassed me up. They were like, "You look Polynesian enough." I'm serious. It was crazy. They'd even send me remember when does anybody remember? Is anybody here when I used to do the show with with a sport coat and like a lei, like a Hawaiian lei? Man, those were the days. Oh man, shoot. Time flies when you're winning championships, right? Here's a look at the current commitments right now. You got Jordan Edmonds up top left. You got Zion Gibson. You got Jamari Matthews. You got Sam Utu, the newest one. You got Chris Booker from Atlanta. And you got Kamarion Johnson, who recently just shut things down. So you have 6 guys who are committed at this point in time, and we'll see how things roll. So tomorrow when I come back, we'll talk about the defense and, put the dream class together, and we'll hit on Ryan Grubb and, some other things that cross my plate throughout the day. But I appreciate you kicking it with us. Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to have some nightcaps, and I feel it's another good place to kind of break bread. I try to do my 10 a.m. show like an hour, and then my nightcaps like 30 minutes. And then, of course, once we get in the season, we'll adjust those times because there'll be a lot more to discuss all the time. But I really appreciate you guys. This is what I do full time for a living. This is literally how I get by. Father of 2. I have my kids full time. They're my greatest blessing. But I'm just like you. Like I love to watch kind of the player development. I like to see how the coaches are doing. I love me some golf. I love me some workouts. I love me some inspiration. I'm trying to tighten up on the spiritual component. So yeah, that's me. You can also find me out on the golf course too during the summertime. And if you want to play, if you want to link up and, get on the links, hit me up. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for rocking with me. Rest, get some sleep, chill, watch. Oh, you know what just came out today is on Netflix, The Titan, that submarine. That story's crazy. I would have never, just watching that submarine, the Titan, right? That's what it's called. I would have never, ever, ever gotten into that thing. Just watching the beginning of that show gave me anxiety. Like when, and the crazy thing was, have you guys seen this? The Titan, that it exploded underwater. It's terrible. I think 4 people or 5 people lost their lives. But this was the craziest thing about this submarine is they bolted it up, and there was no way to get it open unless somebody undid the bolts. No, I'm not getting in a submarine, period. No, I'm not. I'm not going to get into a submarine. All right, fam. I love you guys. Sleep well. Say your prayers. Stay blessed. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thank you so much for the super chats tonight. I really appreciate it. On Thursday, June 12th, Kyle Henderson of Bama